about to a Dale Carnegie on his book called Stop Worrying, Start Living. And, you know, we thought this was a good book to kind of get into because it speaks about a lot of topics, but it gives you like a framework for, you know, conquering worry, which kind of interferes with health, your spiritual health, especially if he gives a lot of tips about business as well. So we thought this was but for me, what stuck out for me overall was key because I worry a lot. So this book was like very, like I'm still reading. I actually purchased audio books, so I listen to it like all the time. But it is very, very helpful because the biggest point that I think resonated with me was that, you know, all the worry you do in the world doesn't change anything. Just creates stress and, you know, affects your health. So what it made me learn, what was most important is do something. Do some type of action for it. And then also what was key too was having to shift mindset. Whatever I'm worrying about, like how likely is that thing going to happen? And if it does happen, you know, what's the worst that can happen? So I thought, to me, like the big theme was create all that stress for absolutely no reason when you that energy, you know, put forth some type of action and turning your whole situation. So that was one of the highlights that I thought overall was great. Personally. How about you, Damon?
It's a good book. Some of the points, I mean, there's so many good points. A couple of them that stood out to me. In worry, one of the things about the book that I like is how it gives you techniques for working through your worry. You know, because I'm kind of like you, I get on that worry. Right? And then the thing, too, is like worry becomes a habit. Like, once you get started going down that road, you get on always worrying. And the worry will eat you alive. I think we mentioned it last show or the show before that. Most of the time, the things that we're worrying about are not even a reality, that fear. But one of the things that stood out is, and I'm going to read the quote. It says, use the law of averages to outlaw your worries. Ask yourself, what are the odds against this thing happening at all? And that was, sometimes you just got to ask yourself, what if this does happen? Or what does even happen? What does the worst case scenario look like? You know, if everything went wrong, like I think is going to go wrong, what does that look like? Is that me getting kicked out of my house? Is that me losing my car? Is that me, you know, losing an arm? Then another point that really got me was, don't fuss about trifles. Don't permit little things, the mere termites of life, to ruin your happiness. And that was key because that kind of put me in a frame of mind of stop allowing the little bitty things to rip away at what you're already doing. You know, how you begin to worry about, as I'm doing whatever thing, you're taking away from the joy of actually accomplishing your goal. You know, if you set out a goal, do something. Since we're a business show, if you started, you know, a show that said, all right, if you said, I'm going to open up whatever business, then you started tearing yourself down day after day, worrying about, do I have enough money? Oh my God, have I really picked the right location? Or people are going to patronize me. To me, you know, you strip away those little termites of those worries and step into the, wait a minute, I'm accomplishing the goal that I set forth. And kind of flip it on its head it changes your outlook, you know, and by changing your outlook, you stop becoming that worry ward, as people say. So, yeah, there was a couple of pieces that stood out. There's even more, but I can go on and on. So,
yeah, this book is excellent. It's excellent. Like, I think it's recommended for everybody because he doesn't just speak to worry; he speaks to like root of it, and even fatigue. And then he even takes it into the business, which we'll talk about as well. But like, I like also how he spoke on the negative effects of worry, which we don't realize. Like, for one, it could be a little annoying if you ever have that friend who calls you all the time with an issue because they're worried. Because there's a spectrum of people that worry. Some people worry about everything and not open to any type of solution. That's pretty annoying. The person just constantly worries. And then if you're that person, no one wants to kind of be around you because they think they're going to have to sit around and listen to your problems all day. On the flip side of that, it does help to vent out your problems. That is one of the suggestions that he also does recommend, that it does help relieve the stress when you do speak to someone about what you're worried about, because it kind of helps you feel like you're not alone. That, okay, it's not as big of a deal as you thought it was. But if you do it all the time, every time you're interacting with somebody, that can be, on people around you. And you don't, that's not kind of fair. You don't want to. Another thing highlighted was that at ages, I felt like I've had some gray hairs that I didn't realize I had. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And it's just that worry and that stress that you don't think is affecting you, but physically it's taking a toll. Now that could be old age. Now, look, when you're putting it on the worry, that could be old age. True, because I'm not a spring chicken. But I do know that, like, I'll say in a short, span of time, like, you notice little differences, like in your skin or your hair, that, that's not necessarily that natural aging. And you see in other people, like people that are constantly happy, or old people that have that, like, permanent scowl on their face. That comes from that worry and that frustration constantly live with, and it affects your look. So, you're conscious about your outer appearance, which is very important in business. You kind of want to make sure, monitor yourself occasionally, check in to see how you're doing, because looks are everything when it comes. So if you don't look the part, the person looks burnt out, and you're handling someone's business, or you're their accountant or whatever, their attorney, and you look bombed out, it's not going to be good for your business. So, that's one thing I thought that was very interesting. And another key was, too, I found when he spoke about the, a lot of us that do office jobs and business type jobs, I always thought that, wow, mental jobs do actually make you tired. But according to studies, it actually doesn't. Like, the brain can work for hours and hours and hours on end. As it does, like, even when you're sleeping, your brain is still working. You're in the whole nine. So what causes stress is your emotions. Like how you feel about the work. So most people not most people, but a lot of people complain about their jobs and they hate what they're doing, and that just makes you tired. In addition to working in an environment, they may have, horrible air conditioning and bad lighting and all that other stuff, and you're eating bad food probably. That also plays a factor into it. But the key thing was that when they did a study, like, your brain, you're fine. It doesn't have, like, stress fatigue. As someone who's doing, like, a physical job, like a construction worker, like, they can get fatigued physically. But if you're just doing a desk job, that job itself does not fatigue your brain. It's emotional outlook. So resentful about the job, hate the job. So the key to that piece is kind of doing something that you enjoy doing. As we've always, that's like the theme throughout the whole show. because that brings on additional stress and fatigue that is just caused by your emotions and your outlook, how you feel about the work. If it's a drag, I hate this. That's going to play into tired at the end of the day. Come home, although you probably haven't done anything physical. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I guess if you think about it, when you're doing something you love and you could probably think about it, there's been times that you've been up for like 3 days in a row, you know what I mean? If you especially because you guys travel and do a lot of the traveling workshops. Even when I've done workshops and I do, some entrepreneurial workshops or some, personal development workshops, and I travel for 12 hours or whatever, and then, get off the plane or get out of the car, and, have just a couple hours of sleep, and then you're on the next day, like all day, and you're still not tired. You're not tired, But then you go to certain environments, and then, it drains you immediately.
Exactly.
So I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, because what I picture is like you said, you're just excited about what you're doing. Whatever project sometimes you're working on, especially working for yourself, sometimes it's like you don't want to go to bed. So excited, you want to get it done. So outside of that, he did say, like, of course, your body is a muscle. So people tend to think in order to work hard, you have to feel stressed. So when you're thinking, you make a scowling look, like concentrating, you're hunching your shoulders when you're chest, because people equate hard work with feeling exhausted. That's not necessarily the case with. So his point to that, which I thought was key, basic thing, was relax. He said, simply just relax. Like, take a moment out of your day and relax. And giving, these examples of what, like, even the Army does. And all their work is physical, but he said, every 10 minutes out of an hour, they stop and take a break. And spoke about all of these, like, leaders of the country, and your presidents and war generals who had all these practices. Well, how does this person do all this without feeling exhausted? He did the interviews, like, well, they took time of their day to take naps.
I love naps, let me tell you.
Yep. Not like sleeping all day, but he was just showing you how if you sleep, say, take a 1 hour nap throughout your day and then sleep for 6 hours straight, you'll feel more rested, but for 8 hours straight. So
I take 10-minute naps.
Yeah.
10 to 15-minute naps. I don't have to set a clock, but as soon as my body gets in a down rhythm, which I was actually reading something just recently about that. We know, everybody has that normally night sleep rhythm, but there is a time during the day that your body is at its weakest. And for people, it's different. It's just different times. But the book was saying at certain times, that's when you should kind of chill out and take a nap, if you can. And for me, it's like between like around 2 o'clock. Around 2 o'clock, it hits me for some reason. Like, I'm at my lowest energy point. And he was saying, most Americans, what we do, we go get some coffee or, eat some candy or, do something like that. When if you just close your eyes for a little while and just relax and calm down, and you'll charge back up,
Absolutely. That's what I used to do. Same thing. I think I used to get tired around 3 at work. And, my solution was to go get a coffee. Some of my coworkers used to say they took naps in their car for like 10 minutes. A break here or there. But I would always be scared. Like, what if I don't wake up? And I'm like, I've heard coworkers with that, story where they've overslept. I've seen people. Because where I used to work was like on the water. So, they have the benches out there and people, and for hours. I don't want to get caught out there like that. So, my solution was coffee, which is not, of course, healthy. But like you're saying, is key, which I thought was also, interesting how he was, same thing, he was giving like those increments of the day with taking a nap. I believe it was like right before dinner, like around 5 or 6 or something like that. If you And then again, it's just based on how you are. Like some people just did 10 minutes with naps. I just thought it was really interesting. Another key thing that he highlighted was that, again, with all that fatigue and stress that you feel from all that worry, sleep will not cure it. You have to make that shift in your mindset. You have to try to become more positive outlook, be more solution oriented, that you can get out of your stress. Like you said, like earlier, how likely is this to happen? Okay, what's the solution? Another key thing for this spiritual show was praying. Praying for assistance. And, whatever your faith is, he was, again, doing interviews, studies, and these people were just saying that it did bring them a lot of peace, a lot of calm, because, again, they didn't feel so alone. They could kind of verbalize whatever that issue is if you don't always feel comfortable speaking with someone else. And, of course, it makes you more solution-oriented because you're praying, you're usually asking. So this kind of puts you in that right direction of action-oriented, if you are that type of person. So, again, as we always learn here in spiritual training, when we pray, we kind of affirm. So we don't beg for something. Just say, what it is. All right, whatever the issue is, it's going to be fixed. So, I have family, I have love, I have whatever. Say what you have instead of saying what's going on. It kind of helps you shift that mindset. So you kind of put it out there so you can manifest it. Instead of like begging for something to help you like you're helpless. Because, again, that's what we learn to be more empowered here. And that's the whole point of this show, is like teach kind of see how business and spirituality are linked and how you can empower yourself. Quality. And it's to, having that right mindset. That's the foundation for everything.
Absolutely.
I think that's a lot of his quotes here. It's basically, nothing makes you happy or unhappy. It's basically how you think. Person, not the food. It's your whole mindset. But you think about it. So
yeah, there's another point in here too I wanted to bring up. And I didn't mean to cut you off if I did. But it was it was talking about criticism from other people. That section on criticism, and he said unjust criticism is often a disguised compliment.
Yep.
And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And it also says, if often means that you have aroused jealousy and envy, remember that no one ever kicks a dead dog. And I used to always say, like, if people are talking about you, you're actually in a good place, because dogs don't bark at parked cars. Like, the hate comes. Haters are cool. Haters are just doing their job. That's okay. That's fine. It's okay that people talk about you, because that's what they're supposed to do. And they're talking about you most times because they want to be you. They're envious that they couldn't do what you are doing or what you said you were going to do. So that one to me was big, because a lot of times people are always worrying about what other people are going to think about me, especially adults. Most of us adults, and since this is a business show and your goal may be to open up a business, well, what if it fails? Or, I'm from corporate America. How is that going to look? I'm out here talking about all this woo-woo spiritual stuff. What? People not going to respect me. I mean, what if I don't make it? There's all these things. There's all this worry around what other people think. And the truth is that your life is yours, not anybody else's. Who cares what other people think? Who cares if your friends make fun of you or, whatever? Then they're not your friends. You know what I mean? Or your family. Most of our family ridicules us anyway. whether we succeed or not. So your family is filled with haters. And most of that hate that comes from family is because you've exposed them for who they are. If you're successful and your siblings aren't successful, y'all came from the same situation. Nobody, you can look at a guy across the street and say, well, that guy, his situation is different, or that girl, her situation is different. Her life circumstances are the same as mine. But you can't do that for somebody that grew up in your house. And when you have somebody in the house that becomes successful and other people begin to tear them down, it's because it exposes those people for their weakness and not having the guts to do what they said that they wanted to do with their life. So that's my 2 cents on the haters.
Hateration from the family, But that's key. That's definitely a theme sometimes when you're growing and you're developing, going in a different direction. Your family is usually the first people they think you're weird or you're crazy. Like, what is this now? But they don't realize that it's actually also helping them as well. And oftentimes, like later on, sometimes they'll kind of come around. Like I noticed my aunt started to kind of call me more and be more, inquiring about like what I was studying, what I was learning, because she was kind of interested in it too, But again, people were scared to do certain things because of some things, or again, like the criticism. Okay, what is this type of cookie stuff with the quality? So people are kind of scared to be open about it, although they're drawn to it. So sometimes it's that one person in the family that just open and whatever, and it kind of does help those who in the family who kind of do want to come to that side, but a little scared. So, and then the other ones will still, like you said, hate. So that is just something you have to ignore and do what's best for you.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're consistent in your convictions over time, it wins the other people over anyway. Mm-hmm. Like you said, your aunt has come around. She's come around because you have been who you said you were going to be. The agreement that you made with the universe as you decided to go down this spiritual path, you stayed true to it. And so she sees that. And she sees, it's like when you watch people who become conscious and then you wait for them to not be conscious anymore. You know what I mean? It's like the dude who becomes conscious and then he starts going back to church. You're like, You couldn't stand on it. And so over the course of time, the consistency proves that you said you are who you wanted to be. And then people respect it. And they truly want to know what it is and what's going on and find value in your steadfastness. Can't get that word out. Well, couldn't you?
You got it out. But no, definitely, I agree. That's a great point. You have to be true to who you are. Otherwise, I feel like you're just slowly dying inside. I can't imagine. We're still learning about the soul and everything. Like one of our first lessons training, and I just keep wondering, like, well, what happens to the soul of a person? I mean, I get that you have to come back and do it again, but I just can't imagine, like, what that feels like. I don't want to imagine of that person who has that soul where they're not even trying to realize their potential. It's like their soul's just like trapped in a body that's not utilizing its gifts. And to me, it's just like a sad thing. So, that's what I think is kind of use your gifts and be who you are and not have that fear or that worry about or criticism. Just do it. It can be very scary. Any change is scary. So I get it. But you'll feel good about yourself once you push in, little by little, pushing through and sticking to it. You know, like Damon said, you just got to be steadfast about it and really stand on your convictions. People will come around and respect you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a little different. I was in the alternative information, we'll say it that way, you know, since I'm in an early age, like early. So as a kid, people go, boy, what are you talking about? You know, the stuff that I was reading, the Beware the Pale Horse and, you know, the ISIS papers. I was reading that stuff at like 15 and 16. So one, you know, you're a kid and you don't know what you're talking about. And then two, you know, that's some outside information, outside the mainstream, quote unquote. But I was there. That's who I was, you know. I was asking those questions all along, but and they thought that, hey, what, are you crazy? What's wrong with you, boy? Over the course of time, I've always been this person, you know. I've never changed. I've stayed the exact same person. But still to this day, people will say things. I'm saying family members, they will say things, but they still respect my position. And now it's not even a challenge anymore. No one challenges me about anything. Now it's questions. Hey, Damon, did you see this happen? What do you think about this? You know, and they know it is typically an alternative point of view that I'm going to give them from on the mainstream. So it's, you know, it's kind of like we're saying that steadfast, and it's, you know, you pick your square and you stand on it. So that's who you are at a certain point.
Absolutely. One more quick thing I just wanted to mention. He mentioned about some tips about working efficiently. To me, they were very simple, but they seemed to work very well, especially in the stories that he was given in the book. The one which works for me, because I have like ADD, so I need to have like everything off of my desk when I'm working, except for what I'm working on. So that was one of his tips of working more efficiently in business. Another one was handling things as they come up. So, and again, in the book, there's a lot of interviews that he does, and he's given a scenario of I believe, a client that came to see a doctor about his worrying issue. And he's very stressed. But he said to the doctor, who kept putting him, you know, on hold, because he was trying to handle some business while he was there, he much cured me already just in observing him.
Mm-hmm.
He noticed the guy, he's like, every time a phone call came in, made a decision on whatever the issue was right away. Didn't put it off. He didn't like hold on. He just got it done. You know, every letter that came in from his assistant signed off and done. So he didn't have a stack of papers on his desk or anything. And at the end of the day, he's like, okay, well, let me just see inside of your drawer. Like, what was, because this guy was a business owner. He's like very stressed. Like, there's something in my five. So he's like, well, where's your unanswered emails? Unanswered calls, like, answered. So his point was basically don't put things off, handle them as they come up. So make a decision then and there. You know how some companies are very annoying for corporate America. It takes them forever to come up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So on some of the simplest matters, and it's a week long or 2 weeks, sometimes even months. So I worked in finance, and that's horrible. Like, I noticed, I worked in compliance and legal. Business side, they can answer something for that reason. It's like, we need that. It's bills basically on now. So that is, you know, simplest. Like, the point is just clean up your whole day, make it so much better. If you don't feel overwhelmed, if in the back of your head you think of, you know, that's I think of the case in many back of your head, thinking of all these things that you have to do. So this guy's doctor, he doesn't have a whole queue of work. It's all done each day. Of course, whatever can't get done is, you know, ready for the next day, but he never has a stack of stuff that's I thought that was pretty interesting. Another thing was just to plan to things in order of importance, like prioritize. I know I get caught out there with that a lot. I sometimes work on things too long that are not that important. And I kind of get myself lead. And, again, if you're leading a business, you got to learn to organize, deputize, and supervise. So a lot of us don't like to delegate work, especially if you're like a control freak and you don't think the person can do work better than you can. That, especially if you're a manager, that defeats the whole purpose of to delegate. That will relieve a lot of stress.
See, those three things were my problem. Well, two things: the deputizing, the delegating, and the supervising. Because when you work for yourself, you kind of run the show, and you want to touch everything. And I was actually talking to a client today about that, and it took me a while to get away from it, but I was talking to him today, and I said, how much is your time worth? And I was telling him that he needed to give some of his work over to assistants in his place. And I was like, how much is your time worth as the owner? Your time should be spent ringing the cash register. It should not be spent doing web research. You can have other people do research for you, put it together in a nice summary, and then you go over the highlights of what you need to know versus spending hours doing research. As an owner, your time is more valuable. And as everyone's time is valuable. And I think you need to figure out how valuable your time is. What's an hour worth to you? And then you won't spend a lot of time sitting on Facebook or doing unnecessary things if you analyze really what your time is worth.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's key. Especially if you're the owner, you're very, like you said, your time is very important. So I think that's key. Have that ability to delegate. Especially if you look at a business, any type of business, the owners are like never there. They're out there doing some other important stuff, but they're not at the job doing everybody's tasks. They're out recruiting or business meetings, something. They're not doing like tasks. They hire people to. So if you're hiring somebody to do it for you and you're doing it, you're kind of defeating. And you're creating a lot more stress on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't want to do. So again, that was our quick review on Dale Carnegie. There's another book out which I think you read, Damon. Influencing how to
win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's another book. I haven't read that one, but I'm going to read it because I love this one. So again, it's Dale Carnegie, and the title is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Excellent book. You can purchase it audiobook or online on Amazon. It's a great book. Excellent reference book to check in and out of, to see how you're doing, and to remind yourself when you see yourself going on the deep end. So I thought that was excellent. But to get into our announcement, again, as many of you know, the 2014 Self-Actualization with Cosmic Tour has commenced, and we will be officially on the road this coming Saturday. We're going to be at the Lawrence Metaphysical Fair in Lawrence, Kansas. So that's going to be on July 12th. Begins at 10 o'clock a.m. On Saturday. It ends on Sunday at 6. And again, of course, Chief Ja, which is the founder of the Spiritual House, the founder of the Anu Spiritual, and he's going to be giving a lecture, the keynote speaker at this event. So we're very excited, and it's our first time, of course, going to Kansas. So I'm excited. And so if you're in the nearby area, if you know anybody that lives near there, because I know we don't have a lot of people out there, but if you know of anyone, just send them out. You can find more about the details at www.sauluhousc.org, which is SAEULUHOUSC. That's all I have for now. And next up, we have in the news. So, Damon, you want to speak about the article we chose today?
Yep. The article is, hey, all right, business people, here we go. The article is I Do, How to Survive Business with Your Mate. And I thought you could speak to that.
Well, I thought this was a great article, for one, because, one, it just made me think about another show topic, which I think is when it comes to business and mate selection, those two are hand in hand. That can either make or break your business.
Absolutely. This article I thought was really good. It was it discussed from a couple's point of view, kind of getting into business with each other, and then kind of the difficulties of that. And for me, my wife has worked in my business a little, but we didn't work together. So I don't know how I would deal with this. I think about it. I don't know. Because I'm kind of different. I'm a type A personality, and I can be a little bit demanding. But but I'm better. I'm recovering type A, so my personality is a little bit better right now. As I get older, I calm down more. But I'm real kind of hard driving, and I kind of push people. So I don't know how I would fare. But this couple kind of talks about it, and they make it work. They make it work. They do consulting, and they make it work. They treat each other. One of the things they said is treat the other person like a true business partner. So I think that's a good point. That's a good point. And if you kind of have an agreement about kind of where you come, I think it works best. And I've seen couples do it, and I know couples that do it. I think it comes best if you pick a position. If one person if the wife is more of a salesy type of person, and the husband is a good numbers person, then he needs to do the numbers, do the bookkeeping, and be the CFO for the company. And and the wife kind of is out there selling day to day, going to networking meetings, that type of person. She's the one that runs the show while the other person does the books, or vice versa. I think if you know what position you play, where your skill sets are, then you can do it better.
Yeah, I think. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I think what's key is what the article mentioned about first not taking it casually, because you can talk in that tone, especially family. So, which is not good. Because again, if it's a business, you want to make money, you want to profit, you can't be acting like it's not a real business, very casual about getting your work done. Which it kind of happened when working with. But you have to then think about it. Why would you give another business and their family's economy more work with your own? So, if you find yourself slipping into that mindset, take a little shift, because you don't want to empower someone else's family and vision and not your own. So I think it's key to kind of get yourself snap back into reality. And then another key is having a roles outlined. I think that's just important, partnership, being very clear about who's the boss. Sometimes maybe it's not a partnership. Somebody's the boss and you're an employee, whether it's husband and wife or whatever. Or if it is a partner and you both have an equal say in what goes on. But I think to me, it's kind of key, like what you mentioned. Well, if you don't really have a lot of business background or skills, then maybe you don't have that much. Maybe you need to be an employee. Where the other person who has the most experience doing whatever type of business you're doing, they should have the same. So I think that's key to kind of outline roles. Have that very So there's no issue. And again, having it respected, not taking it casually. Family members. Because sometimes people say it's horrible to go into this, and sometimes it's beautiful. So I just think works is very clear in their communication, and to me, what's most important is having that same vision. Now, that's major, because if you have people that are saying that they're on board in the background, like even in a job, you know, people are looking for jobs and all this stuff in the background, you don't know, you can't really do that with your family. Very open and honest, you know, about what you're doing, if you're all hands, feet, everything in. If not, you indicate that what other goals you may have. Yeah. Working with. So I think that's one of the things, to be on one accord, have that same vision. And of course, little things like they mentioned in the article, I think is cool. It's like having separate offices. Like, you don't want to be in each other's face all the time, and because you're working together and you're like, that's a lot. So
yeah.
You need a little space. That's why sometimes it works when people they go out to work and they now working together all day, and that you kind of separation. I would imagine.
See, for me, I'm kind of always on, and so for me, I would find it difficult to not talk about business. And that's something in the article they talk about, is like to take the opportunity to not talk business all the time. But when you're together, just chill and enjoy each other, and you're outside the framework of business. To me, I'm always in the framework of business. So I would find it difficult to not talk to my mate about work if we work together. You know what I mean? Like, I would just always be talking about it. So, yeah, I would find it difficult. It would be hard for me. I could do it, but it would be hard.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one. I don't think it's a horrible thing to talk about work when you're working together. I think that's natural. I just think it's good to have a little separation. Maybe sometimes, again, like you said, if your roles are completely different, you do not need to see each other all the time. You have that space back and have a meeting, and then later on you can talk about all the fun stuff on in your life.
Yeah. But I think if you come into the situation with mutual respect for each other, and respect each other's boundaries, and create boundaries and rules for how you play, you know, how you work together, then it works. And as long as you can respect those, you know. So, and if you're in a big office space with a bunch of people, you know, when it comes to, I've seen even like, not even spouses, but, you know, fathers, sons, and siblings, you know, instead of going dad or mom, you know, actually use their first names, and, you know, and say, hey, when we're at the office, I call them by his first name, Bob. You know what I'm saying? You know, but then when they're at home, it's back to, you know, parent, you know, the parent-child relationship. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just can't work. Dad.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the office like dad. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
At Damon Rawls Coaching, we are still doing the open coaching calls, and it's going well. So if you're interested in something on the call, by all means, send me an email over to Damon, Damon, at Damon Rawls, DamonRawls.com. I'll put you on the list, and I'll send you email when we have those. I'll send you the private line, and it's an open coaching call, and we discuss open topics. If it's a legal issue, we discuss legal issues. If it's a payroll issue, we discuss payroll issues, marketing, how to integrate social media into your marketing plan, or how to increase revenue. Whatever that discussion is, it's an open discussion. So that's still going on. So if you're interested, shoot me an email, and I will put you on the list for that open coaching call, and you'll get that private information. So that's all we got going on.
Wonderful.
I'm still doing plenty of workshops.
Oh, that's good.
And workshops. And one day I'll tell you a story about me and Judge Joe Brown getting into an argument.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at one of my workshops.
Yeah, is he from Tennessee too?
Yeah, he's actually in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. I know he has an accent, so I was wondering.
Yeah, he's not on TV anymore, so.
Oh.
But he practices in Tennessee, and I did some work for the Tennessee Bar Association, and he was in our workshop, and it's a good story.
Share it for the next show.
yes. It's a funny story.
Cool.
But you guys are going to have to listen in if you want to hear the story, so.
And also, don't forget to email us if you have questions. So
our next segment is Your Vital Energy from Tamu Agina, one of the other students in our new training.
Thank you for joining me today, your host, Tamu Agina, for another episode of Your Vital Energy. You might have noticed that we've decided to stay with our original title, Your Vital Energy. I am happy to be with you today on Enlightenment and Transformation Radio. Let's begin this segment with a brief meditation. The thought manifests as the word. The word manifests as the deed. The deed develops into habit, and the habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its ways with care, and let it spring from love born out of concern for all beings. As the shadow follows the body, as we think, so we become. This is from the Dhammapada, the sayings of the Buddha. And this little meditation leads me into the next part of our segment for the holistic entrepreneur. As holistic entrepreneurs, we are business people with a mission. We have a goal that includes not only our own healing journey, but we seek to share with the world our own unique service, which we envision will help to make the world a better place. In any part of our lives, in order to help others, we must first help ourselves, whether it's setting goals, achieving goals, or dealing with day-to-day issues of emotional, spiritual, or physical wellness. We live in an age of options. Health and wellness coaches are a wonderful resource that can help provide us with the boost of inspiration we need to carry on, not only in our daily lives, but in our business pursuits. Help with our creativity, our outlook, as well as our perspective. Not only to keep our minds in check, but, as the meditation earlier showed us, our words in check. Health and wellness coaches are a wonderful resource to use for ourselves to help us to continue in whatever avenue of our business that we might need help in. Whether it's holistic health coaching to kind of help us to set goals, whether it's in our lifestyle habits or even in our business practices. There is a woman I'd like to introduce you to who I believe and feel is a wonderful healer She is a wonderful holistic entrepreneur herself, and she offers her services as a health and wellness coach. Her name is Cherise Sledge Thomas, and she is located in Ohio. She is an awesome mother of twins. She is a businesswoman, and she is the Chief Visionary Officer and Holistic Health Coach at awakenedvitality.com. Her phone number there is 614-470-HEAL. That's 614-470-HEAL. And her website, as I mentioned before, is awakenedvitality.com. In our healing tip today, for your vital energy, I'd like to introduce you to a wonderful little crystal called aventurine. Aventurine is a crystal that you're going to want to carry with you for a while, if you need, and if you feel so inspired. And here are just a couple of little tidbits that aventurine can help you with. Aventurine reinforces leadership qualities. It encourages perseverance. It helps to stabilize the mind, and it enhances creativity. Now, there's more aspects to the healing powers of aventurine crystal, but this is just a few I'd like to share with you. Aventurine comes in green, blue, red, brown, and peach. So, next time you're at your favorite crystal store, pick up a couple of pieces of aventurine. Keep it in your car, at your desk, in your pocket, and under your pillow. Another healing tip I'd like to share with you is in the realm of essential oils. Last week I shared with you the healing powers of rosemary. Helps with remembering. It helps to enhance your memory. Well, concentration is another virtue that us business people really need. Whether we're working on a deadline or coming up with a creative avenue for a business, concentration is something that we all can use a boost in. So I'll recommend a couple of essential oils that can help with concentration. Last week I mentioned rosemary for memory. Rosemary also helps in concentration. Lemon essential oil is another healing, wonderful healing oil that is good to help boost your concentration. Lemon oil also helps to boost your mood. I sort of think of lemon essential oil, as having the power of sunshine at your fingertips. And what I mean by that, sunshine, the sun is wonderful for our vital energy. It helps to enhance us, not only to create vitamin D in our body, but sunshine helps with our overall mood and our energy levels. Lemon essential oil is like sunshine in a bottle. I highly recommend that you carry lemon oil with you. It enhances your mood, and it's also good for concentration. Peppermint essential oil is another oil that is good for concentration, and is also good to help uplift you and invigorate you, and it is also good for your sinuses. And cedarwood oil is another wonderful oil that not only helps with concentration, but it also helps to clear you spiritually and psychically. And what I mean by that is, say you've had a disagreement or some sort of situation that you've been in, and you feel attached to that situation, and you're having difficulty releasing the emotions. that attached themselves to you as you were dealing in that situation. Cedarwood oil is another oil that is helpful. You can put it on a handkerchief or in a cotton ball, carry it on your person that way, or just put it on your collar. Cedarwood oil. And it's also good for relaxation. I use cedarwood oil in my own body work practice. I put a little bit into the massage and reflexology oils that I use, carrier oils, such as avocado oil, coconut oil, or even shea butter are wonderful healing oils, carrier oils that you can add cedarwood to, peppermint oil to, as well as rosemary. If you have any questions about aventurine or any of the essential oils that I mentioned, please feel free to contact me at www.tamuandgina.com. I like to leave this segment with you a short little meditation. You've heard me mention the I Am meditation before, and I like to share with you an older version of the I Am mantra meditation by Leslie Sutkus. So if you can take a moment to just sort of ground yourself, your feet solid on the ground, and if you're sitting, just to make sure that your spine and your shoulders are in alignment. Your head is slightly back, your shoulders are down, and you're relatively just relaxed. There's no tension or stress being held in your body. Take a deep breath in and a longer exhale out. I am life. Separation is gone. I am remembering to be happy. I am love. Fear is gone. I am remembering to be kind to my neighbor and all living beings. I am remembering to be kind to myself. I am joy. Sorrow is gone. I am remembering to rejoice and give thanks for my many blessings. I am abundance. Scarcity is gone. I am remembering to work honestly and be generous. I am peace. Anger is gone. I am remembering to laugh. I am healing. Worry is gone. I am remembering to smile. Thank you for joining me today for this segment of Your Vital Energy. I hope that something in this segment you are able to take away with you and to keep with you and to help you to have a better day. Remember that your thoughts and your words carry great, powerful energy. They can help to build you up or to break you down. Your words are either blessings to you and others, or they heap cursings on yourself and others. It is your choice. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Keep going.
So, Damon, did you have any questions that came in?
Actually, there was a question that came in. And there was a question that came in, and it was from CJ, and they asked, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it boiled down to, what does it take money-wise to start up, or how much money do I need to start a business? Be pretty simple. So, DJ, that question is really loaded. That's a difficult question to say, how much do you need to start up? If it's a service business, let's say a service business like consulting or residential cleaning or lawn care, something like that. Those are what we consider service businesses. So if it's a service business, you can typically start, there's service businesses you can start at less than $100. You know, it's just getting a business license and whatever you need for advertisement, whether that's flyers or business cards or something like that. But typically most service industry businesses, you can get started for less than $100. And he wasn't specific on the business type, so I'm going to need you to be specific in your questions, people. So, but a little bit more specific. But you know, if it's an app, if it's an app, it could be $25,000. So the question is kind of loaded without having what the startup actually is. But you can look at from $0 to several $100,000, you know, to $1 million. So it's pretty open without knowing. But with technology the way it is today, you can keep the cost down significantly if you strategically look at what you're doing and how you want to do it. So I'll say it that way. And I hope that answers your question, CJ. But if you email us back and get a little bit more specific, then I can answer that a little bit better. So that was the question that we had come in.